What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. And yes, my 82-year-old Babushka got offered to join the Russian army and sign a military contract to fight in Ukraine. Welcome to today's one big episode of ridiculous Russian propaganda. Because it is, if it's not ridiculous, I don't know what else is. Is Putin that desperate to continue the invasion that he's even ready to draft whoever he can? Doesn't matter the age, health conditions and criminal history. Everything I'm going to talk about today is obviously real. This is the real life of people inside of Russia, who live mostly outside of major urban centers like Moscow and St. Petersburg. You can still get drafted literally out of nowhere from the street. One day you have a job and a family, the next day you are in the military truck which drives you to the border between Russia and Ukraine. Every picture I'm going to show is real as well. My father sends them to me from time to time, and I decided to show them to you for the very first time. So yeah, let's talk about the state of hidden, forced military conscription that still goes on in Russia, despite Russian official claims that the partial mobilization of September 2022 is now long over. As we approach the third year of the war, the propaganda in Russia does not scale down. It's just that people simply got used to it, and they just consider it as a background noise. Just like listening to advertisements or weather reports, you hear those things but you don't listen. Well, actually no, people do pay more attention to weather reports rather than Z propaganda. The same thing with the Z patriots, putting Z's on their cars to show support to the military. There are now way fewer people that put these symbols on their cars, on their vehicles. Some just probably got tired of war, some started to feel shame as their eyes opened to the invasion, while the others were probably talked out of it by their friends and relatives. It is now way shameful to put Z on your car, rather than it was about a year ago or so. But the propaganda still does not change. It is now almost everywhere. There are billboards offering military service, posters on the bus stations praising the heroes of special military operation. Other posters indirectly shame people who don't want to fight in Ukraine, saying that only real men can sign contracts with the Ministry of Defense. There are even advertisements in the elevators, where people have to stand and look at them for several minutes sometimes, while waiting for the elevator to deliver them to their floor. And they have to go through the same process several times per day, 7 days per week, so yeah, those people who entertain the opportunity to go and serve might actually end up doing it. This type of propaganda is like a water shaping the stone. Every time it does not do much, but because it is so repetitive and you see it every day, that's when it finally starts to get to you. Because of this, residents of the apartment buildings usually tear down these propagandistic posters, just to find another one already hanging in the very same elevator the next day. And nobody knows who puts them there. Sometimes people even find the brochures offering to sign a military contract in their mailboxes, just like a regular spam that you receive daily. But the difference is that these are not coupons from your local grocery store. These are literal death proposals. And they do offer more and more money each time, seducing more and more those people who have nothing much to lose. But as we already spoke many times, the cost of each new soldier is getting exponentially higher. Those who wanted to make $20,000 as a sign-up bonus already did it. Those who never wanted to go to Ukraine will never do it. And $25,000, $30,000 or even more money is unlikely to change their minds. And so yes, one time, my Babushka checks her mailbox, and there it is, a brochure that offers her to join the Russian military. Or how they phrased it, join your brothers in arms in the zone of the special military operation. I can only wonder what kind of experience my Babushka could have brought. Yeah, she was actually a school nurse, but maybe they thought she could be a military medic or something. This was already ridiculous enough, but not as ridiculous as what happened next. Luckily, my father was there. One day, there is a phone call. My Babushka answers it and speaks for a pretty long time, answering the questions, keeping up with the dialogue, conversation and all. All the way until the moment my father realizes she's on the phone unusually long enough, and the things she's saying is something like, "Yes, I understand why Vladimir Putin did it. Yes, I do watch TV. I know what happened in Vuhledar. No, none of my family members currently serve in Ukraine," and so on. While there was an excuse for the military brochure in her mailbox, simply because they just put them in every single one they see, This was absolutely no excuse for the person on the other side to talk to my babushka into signing a military contract. She obviously has an old lady voice. Just simply no way you can mistake it for a healthy 30-year-old man who wants to sacrifice himself for Putin. So my father takes the phone away from her and starts speaking with this literal clown of a recruiter, saying things like, "Do you know who you're calling? Does she sound like a young man to you? How dare you brainwash people to die for Putin?" and things like this. I only wish I could hear the responses and excuses of the person from the other side of the line. They behave somewhere in between bank representatives and scammers. They are extremely tedious and annoying, just like bank support people, and as pushy and skillful of tricking and manipulating people. The narrative might range from the very basic. You need to show up in the military enlistment office just to verify some data, all the way to the actually verbally signing the contract asking for the address so the military people come to your house and ask for your actual then signature. And obviously not all the details are always given. They operate under the mindset, if they don't ask you, don't tell them. I mean, yes, even if my babushka did end up agreeing to do all these things, most likely if some military uniform people did show up at your doorstep, all this will be considered as a mere confusion. They will apologize and leave. But now just imagine how many young and naive young men are tricked similarly into signing a contract. How many of them unwillingly give out some information, which they might consider insignificant, just so later they are grabbed somewhere and brought directly into the draft office. And it does not end with the phone calls. Sometimes these recruiters go door to door and ask whether you want to speak about Russia really quick, or to do a citizen's duty and answer some questions for the statistic, or something like this, like nothing about war, don't worry. Their main goal is for you to open the door, or pick up the phone and start a conversation with you, and then they just go along a carefully crafted script which includes all the possible answers of the victims and how to respond to them accordingly. So in the end, if the person does make a mistake, reveal some information, and that's it. Since then, this person is hooked. These are very shady tactics that the regime of Putin is using in order to get more people to fight in Ukraine, without a doubt. And the troubling thing is that they do not care whether these are young men or 82-year-old babushkas they are talking to. Luckily my father once again was there, so it ended up just as a frustrating story, because knowing the desperation of Putin, I would not want to leave the destiny of my babushka just for a mere chance.
What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude once again, this time from the future, and while editing I realized that I forgot to tell you one thing. I'm going to have another very interesting video coming. It will be on my second channel, The Russian Dude Investing, the link is down below. And basically what I'm doing is asking ChatGPT to invest $1,000 of my own money into 10 ultra high risk companies. This will be an experiment for the entire 1 year to see how my investments perform after 1 year, to see if ChatGPT is a good financial advisor or not. The link to my second channel once again is down below. I'm very excited to share this journey with you. Please go ahead and watch it. It's very interesting video. I liked it personally so much. Sorry for the disturbance, and now back to the original video.
Well, there you have it, guys. For more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. There is bonus content you can find using the links down below. Thanks so much for watching.
We won't succumb to their tricks, the facade they try to sell. Their twisted words and feeble claims on us all they cannot quell. We see through their lies, their feeble attempts to sway.